Imagine going to a store to buy something, and instead of paying the store to get it, they pay you. Could you imagine something like that in real estate? You go to buy a property, you pay $0, and they pay you to buy it. That's something that is possible, and it's something I did with some partners. I'm going to show you how I did it. So yes, $0 down is a real thing. You can buy real estate with no money down, but there's usually some more risks and it's a little more sophisticated to set it up. So I do not recommend starting your first deal doing something like this, but I want you to know what's possible and what you can do in real estate. So I'm going to share with you the story that we as a group, as a partnership, went through to acquire this property the way that we did. Okay, so it was me and two other partners. We decided to set it up in an LLC and split the profits 50-50. We went to go get a conventional mortgage. We wanted to put 20% down, and we were going to use a HELOC to cover the down payment. So it was basically 100% financed. Now, if you're going to do a deal like this, you got to make sure that there's enough equity in the deal, enough net profits to be split after the sale of the property. And you also need to make sure that it's cash flow positive at the end of the month, that you're actually making money after all expenses. Did our due diligence, everything looked great, we moved forward, and the day before closing, we get a call from the lender saying, hey, the employment check didn't go through. One of the partners left Wall Street, left their job just before the closing of the property because he was retiring, and the timing could not have been worse because his salary was a huge portion of what we were using to get qualified for the mortgage. So because his income was no longer valid, we could not get approved and we could not close. The bank said it's a no-go. And we were devastated because this was the day before closing. We had attorneys waiting on us. The seller was expecting everything to go through. Everything just was hinging on this closing date, and we could not complete it. So we had to be creative, last second thinking, how are we going to do this? We want this deal. We need to make it work. So what we did is we took the whole HELOC that we had available. Luckily, we had enough to cover the whole purchase price, and we purchased the property with a HELOC. Now, that could be extremely risky depending on the HELOC and the way it's set up. Luckily, the one we had was able to be fixed at an interest rate of about 5.5%, and that was locked in for 25 years. So not nearly as good as a 30-year fixed conventional. We would have had a lower rate, but we needed to make it work, and so we pivoted and closed the next day with the entire HELOC. Okay, great. So we closed on the property with this HELOC. No money out of my pocket, no money out of the partners' pockets. It was official. We bought property with no money down, but now we have a vacant home and we got to find a tenant quick, right? We got to start producing income because otherwise expenses come quick. So luckily, in 3 days' time, we found a great tenant, a perfect tenant for the lease option that we had set up for the house. So this was a rent-to-own. The family wanted very much to buy a house in the future, but just did not have the credit because they were self-employed and they needed some more time to be able to get approved. So they were great candidates for this house. They actually came in 3 days' time, signed the lease. We were issued a $3,000 non-refundable deposit because that is part of a lease option. It gives them the right to buy the house. So we get that money. And then I also closed on the house as a Keller Williams licensed agent. So I received a commission of 2% of the purchase price. So that amount was about $6,300. And then we had another $3,000 from the deposit we received, and they gave us first month's rent, moved in, and they basically started renovating the property as soon as they moved in. The only things that we needed to do to the house was put some light bulbs in and a light paint job in the basement. It was pretty much ready to go, and a lot of the stuff I like to leave up to the tenant the way they want to customize it, because I'm not going to spend a lot of money in trying to do something that I like when the tenant's going to get in there and change it to the way the things they like. Everything's great. A month, 2 months, 3 months goes by. They're sending me pictures of renovating the property. They redid the kitchen. They redid the bathroom. They completely redid the basement. They made the house beautiful, and they did it on their dime. We did not have to do that. So they increased the value of the property, renovated the property. We came out $0 out of pocket. We actually received the money from the commission and deposit to buy this property. And now we're cash flowing on a month-to-month basis and splitting the cash flow 50-50. We still have this property today. The value has gone up, and we continue to cash flow. So this is a great deal that we got into, and it's something that almost didn't happen. We were so close to not making this deal happen, but we thought outside the box, we pivoted, and we checked the numbers with the new HELOC purchase, and it still worked out. So I want you guys to know this is a possibility. There's a lot of ways you can go about purchasing property and structuring a deal. So just keep in mind that purchasing a property with a HELOC can be risky. You need to know what you're getting into. If we were on a variable rate and we bought this in spring of 2022, today we would be in a negative cash flow situation, and it would have killed the deal. The only way that this made sense is because it was fixed and it was over 25 years, so the cash flow made sense and we protected our downside. I do not recommend doing something like this for your first deal, but it's something that you can get into down the road as you advance, and I want you to know what is possible. There you have it. No money down real estate is a real thing. I hope you got some value from today's story. Stick around for the next video. Subscribe to the channel. Have a great week. Keep going, keep learning, and keep grinding.